Joining me now ahead of his APFC debut, Mr. Shock and Rock himself, Asher Frederick. The fans made noise. They wanted him on the card. We got him. How are you feeling a week out, my man?
Man, I feel great. I'm firing on all cylinders. I feel like I'm gonna go out there and put on a show.
What do you know of your opponent? Have you studied him? Have your coaches studied him? And what are you going into this fight thinking of him and looking out for?
I mean, obviously he hasn't fought in 5 years. He's probably been training the entire time, but from what I've seen from when he's fought, he likes to throw a lot of head kicks and black, and, spinny shit. And then immediately when his opponents will panic, he just goes and shoots a double. He has good striking. He's tough, and he's got a good gas tank. And to me, that's exciting. I think he's a great opponent, and I'm excited to fight him.
You always bring the fight and you're always looking a little bit different in there every time in a good way. Is there anything in particular you want to showcase in this bout, or are you just going to take what comes as it comes and just showcase everything in that cage?
I think I'm going to show, honestly, how much I know in depth of fighting, and I'm going to show different tactics that higher levels are using. I was flown out to Vegas in December to train with David Vorak, who's ranked number 9 in the UFC. I've learned a few things from him, and I just want to show people that I can compete on that level and that I do have what it takes, regardless of my opponents and whoever you put in front of me.
How does it feel to be putting on your skill or to be putting your skills on display as a professional now? You had a lengthy amateur career, a very successful one, and now having a successful early pro career. But how does it feel to finally be getting the opportunities you've been looking for on these pro bout cards?
Honestly, it's amazing. I was an amateur for 3.5, 4 years, and I've been wanting to be a professional. I mean, I was in high school sitting telling myself you can make it as a professional fighter. And now to actually be a professional fighter at 23 years old, it's amazing. And I'm just so grateful that I have the talent, the drive, and the discipline to be able to do this.
How much credit would you give your amateur career for helping prepare you as a pro, both experience time and just it's always different when you enter the cage and when you're in the training room?
Um, my amateur career definitely helped me in so many ways mentally, and just like I lost to two guys. Cameron Algar, he was an absolute stud, and that taught me, hey, you could be great so many nights, but all it takes is one night. So it's just it really taught me, my amateur career did, to essentially just keep training, and no matter what happens, just keep going. Things may not go your way in the gym, but you may look like shit the week of the fight, and then you go out and put on an absolute clinic. So I think my amateur career really helped me deeply.
You're a part of a loaded card coming up here in Hammond. I do want to ask, why should the fans be glued to this bout? Why should their eyes be on you and Jose Ignacio when the cage doors shut next Sunday?
I think everybody should be focused on that fight because I think we're going to steal a show. I think he's going to try and put my lights out in front of, my girlfriend, my friends, my family, my fans, and I'm going to try and put his lights out in front of everybody too. And I think he's not going to pull anything back, and I'm not going to pull anything back. And I think that regardless of the outcome, I mean, I think that's going to steal the entire show, and nobody's going to care about any of the other fights after that. No disrespect to anybody else fighting on the card. I just think that this fight is going to be the best one on the card.
I love the confidence, man. How do you think you get this one done? Do you got a prediction in store for us at all?
Uh, I think it's going to be just a war, and it's going to go all 3 rounds. But anything could happen. I could finish him. He could finish me. I could submit him. He could submit. It it just depends on how the fight goes. I'm not gonna sit there and make a prediction that I don't know anything about. I respect him, and I think he's gonna bring it. And if we both leave it all out there, and it goes all 3 rounds, and I don't see him beating me, so I think I'm gonna win. I'll just leave it at that.
And finally, what would you say to your opponent if you had to tell him one thing going into fight week?
Uh, Thank you for taking this fight, man. I respect you, and let's put on a show.
Love to hear it. A lot of confidence on display, but it's nothing but respect in the end. And that's the fight game all in one, man. Asher Frederick goes to war at APFC 7 next Sunday against Jose Ignacio, looking to push that pro record a little bit further. And we can't wait to see it. Make sure you're watching APFC 7 on UFC Fight Pass, and make sure you're subscribed here as well.